The film begins with a drug dealer becoming possessed and eventually hanging himself. According to a Thai legend, the Thai demon is an evil spirit worshipped by drug traffickers. It has bloody red eyes and protruding fangs, and unfortunate receivers will face death and doom. After this, Master Shi, Yanhua, and their master come to that location to find the Thai demon. All three of them enter the restaurant, only to discover 6 lifeless bodies hanging. Master instructs them to remove the corpses first, and then they will have to lift the curse. While untying the rope of one of the corpses, Yanhua accidentally gets some dust in his eyes, causing considerable irritation. As he looks around, he notices that one noose is empty, and suddenly the body in front of him opens his eyes. Master Shi assists Yanhua in getting up, but is startled to discover that he is possessed. Master swiftly engages in religious actions to ward off the evil spirit. However, as the spirit exits Yanhua's body, it enters Master, causing him to collapse. Master places a protective charm around Yanhua's neck, emphasizing that it is his mandate, and then he gets possessed by the demon. Demonic spells echo throughout the room, causing pain in Yanhua's ears, and all the candles in the restaurant extinguish. A possessed man attacks Master Shi, prompting Yanhua to intervene. Yanhua manages to knock the man down, and in an attempt to save Master Shi, wraps a rope around the possessed man's neck to strangle him. After a while, they realize they have been tricked by the demon, and it was their master whom Yanhua just killed. After 5 years, we see an internet celebrity named Gray Bear peeing on a bridge. His girlfriend Xian decides to film his actions, and we see that a psychic girl named Jia-min is with them, whom they have promised to pay $10,000 for a task. Gray and Cheyenne are sure that they can exceed the view count of that rope ritual livestream. Now, when Gray returns, Jia-min, sitting alone in the car, senses something paranormal. Meanwhile, beneath the same bridge, a prosecutor instructs Chang to deliver drugs to the coastline and tells him that it is from Thailand. Chang notices that he has nothing to tie the box with. However, he spots a rope floating nearby and uses it to tie the box securely. As Chang is en route to deliver the drugs, a sudden swarm of flies appears in front of him, causing a distraction that leads to an accident. On the other hand, Gray begins his live stream, informing his viewers that they are performing a ritual known as the Chair Maiden. Cheyenne adds that the Chair Maiden met a gruesome end a century ago, at the hands of her aunt, transforming into a vengeful spirit. According to the legend, she possesses the ability to provide accurate answers to any question asked. Meanwhile, Chang regains consciousness. As he gets up and starts gathering his belongings, his eyes are drawn to a lifeless body hanging from a nearby tree. The body turns towards him, revealing his own face, and when he attempts to escape in fear, he gets possessed and freezes at his place. Simultaneously, Jia-min attempts to summon the Chair Maiden, initially with no results. However, after a while, she hears a voice, and as she opens her eyes, the chair they are using for the summoning starts moving forcefully. Jia-min invites Gray to ask Chair Maiden a question, and Gray inquires why her aunt wanted to kill her. This enrages the spirit, resulting in the chair moving vigorously. Subsequently, it violently drags both girls away, and then the spirit throws Xian onto Gray, and as the chair ascends into the air, they realize that Jia-min is possessed. Just then, Yanhua intervenes to handle the situation and expel the spirit, and when Gray rushes to film the scene, Yanhua scolds them for messing with Chair Maiden. After he departs, Jia-min notices that he left his charm behind, so she decides to follow him to return it. She hands it back, and he begins leaving, but she inquires if he is a Taoist master. She reveals her ability to see such things and seeks his help to become normal. Just then, she gets a text from Xian, and Yanhua tells her that she is looking at the wrong person and asks her to go home. Later, when Jia-min arrives home, she discovers that her aunt is still awake. Her aunt mentions that her uncle is out, and since none of them has returned, she finds it difficult to sleep. The aunt suggests reheating food for Jia-min, but she declines, mentioning that she has already eaten at work and isn't hungry. She then goes to her room, and we learn that her aunt struggles with mental health issues and is a psychotic patient. Shine informs Gray that Jia-min's parents fell victim to an evil spirit, and Jia-min was the one who drew the evil spirit to them. Subsequently, she was sent to live with her aunt, who faces daily abuse from Jia-min's uncle. Meanwhile, Yenhua burns a spell for Jia-min, expressing this is all he can currently do to help her. The following day, authorities and locals discover Chang's lifeless body, noting an unusual inability for him to lie down. Master Shi and Kuai arrive at the scene, with Master Shi performing a ritual action that leads to Chang's body collapsing. Mayor asks Master how they lift this curse, to which he says last time he got hurt while performing the rope ritual, so he can't perform it. Later, they visit Yenhua, and Master Shi requests his help in performing the Zongkui dance to facilitate purification. Yenhua mentions that he cannot perform in his current state, but Master Shi emphasizes the urgency by revealing that the rope they are about to purify carries the same evil scent as the spirit they encountered 5 years ago. He stresses that if they don't eliminate it quickly, the consequences could lead to numerous deaths. Despite Master Shi's plea, Yenhua remains disinterested, which infuriates the master, and he mentions that their master sacrificed his life for him, and questions the purpose of his heavenly mandate if he refuses to help others in need. Now, it is revealed that Chang was Jia-min's aunt's husband. She pleads with the officials to leave her alone for some time, asking for space to grieve her husband. It's only then that a table moves on its own, followed by the opening of a freezer door. Terrified by these occurrences, the aunt is startled when Chang grabs her arm, prompting her to flee in horror. Subsequently, a news broadcast reveals that prosecutor Tsai of Changhua District cracked a large-scale drug smuggling case again recently, and this is already his third drug smuggling case this year. Meanwhile, Jia-min comes out hearing some sounds in her house and finds Chang sitting there, eating the food. Observing that the phone receiver has been left off, she places it back, and just then, she receives a text from Shine asking if she is free tonight for another video. She then realizes that Chang is no longer present, and the door to his room swings open. Puzzled, Jia-min starts heading towards the room, but stumbles over a table, causing her to fall. As she checks her broken phone, she is startled to see Chang's reflection in it. Suddenly, his apparition materializes in front of her, and objects in the house start falling as she rushes toward her room. Terrified, she locks her room and hides inside a wardrobe as Chang attempts to open the door. After a struggle, Chang successfully enters the room, causing Jia-min intense fear. However, after a while, Chang leaves. Unexpectedly, he reappears, but at that moment, her aunt arrives and attempts to calm Jia-min down, saying he will not bother them again. The following day, they pay their final respects to Chang. Later, Master Shi gives them protective amulets for their home, stresses the significance of avoiding night outings, and instructs them to place an upside-down broom outside the door. That night, Gray asks Cheyenne about the view counts, to which she says it's just 140,000. Meanwhile, we see Master Shi getting ready to perform the rope ritual, but he gets hurt in the process. Frustrated and desperate, Gray decides to film the cursed place, but Cheyenne says she doesn't want to do it. He stops the car, asks her to exit, and as she steps out of the car, he drives away, leaving her alone there. Meanwhile, Yenhua arrives at the temple, and Master Shi questions him why he is here. We then see that Yenhua is there to assist in lifting the rope curse by conducting the rope ritual. Gray proceeds to film the cursed place, showcasing amulets on all the windows, while expressing his uncertainty about their purpose to the viewers. Meanwhile, Aunt discovers a statue in a drawer, recalling how Chang had beaten her once for touching it, claiming it's from Thailand. The statue's eyes illuminate, and the drawer door abruptly shuts, which scares her. Later, Jia-min holds herself responsible for Chang's death, but Aunt asserts that her uncle deserved this. She tells her that since Jia-min's mother passed away, she is her only family, and regrets allowing her to endure such suffering. The aunt then runs out into the street, and Jia-min follows her, and just then, Gray notices them, and he recognizes Jia-min. The aunt rushes to the rope ritual, claiming that there is still something not sent away. Kwai informs her that family members cannot be present here, as it may lead to negative consequences. He then instructs Gray that he can't record in this space, and upon Gray's introduction, Kwai mentions that his name should not be spoken aloud. Suddenly, the aunt collapses, beginning to succumb to possession. Yanhua intervenes and uses the heavenly fire to expel the evil spirit. The ritual continues, and Kwai informs Jia-min that once they are in the midst of the ritual, they cannot leave, and anything that is not sent away will be addressed later. After a while, Prosecutor Se arrives at the scene with his officers and disrupts the ritual. He insists that they cannot dispose of the evidence, as it is crucial for a drug smuggling case. Despite their attempts to explain the importance of the ritual, Se accuses them of stealing evidence and orders his team to retrieve it. In the midst of this, the aunt sees something and begins screaming, pleading for it not to come near her. Next, we see them at the police station, where Jia-min explains that while her aunt was organizing her uncle's belongings, she discovered something that hadn't been sent away, prompting her to follow them to the ritual. Yanhua then comes out and takes a seat, and an officer informs Jia-min that she and her aunt are free to leave. As they are leaving, Yanhua instructs Jia-min to bathe her aunt with the amulet water. Later, Jia-min discovers her aunt rubbing her eyes and advises her to stop. Attempting to help, she dips a towel in amulet water to clean her aunt's face. Yanhua explains that her aunt's body and soul are weak, and after she was in the rope ritual, her soul is damaged, and her aunt angrily asks her what she wiped her face with. And as Jia-min says amulet water, her aunt becomes furious and starts getting possessed. She threatens to kill Jia-min, but as she attempts to attack, an unseen force intervenes, causing her to fall to the floor. Subsequently, she gets dragged into a room, and the door slams shut. As Jia-min attempts to open the door, a demonic reflection of herself appears in the mirror behind her. It starts moving toward her, and suddenly the mirror shatters. And just then, someone knocks on the door. Jia-min opens the door, and Yanhua asks, "Where is her aunt?" She informs him that she is in her room and pleads for his help. Yanhua instructs Kwai to place an amulet on the door, indicating that the curse has now transferred. Using his powers, Yanhua then opens the door, and they find the aunt standing on the bed. The aunt looks at Jia-min, expressing pain and begging for help. The evil spirit then compels her to hang herself, but Yanhua intervenes and knocks her down. The spirit utters something in a foreign language, prompting Yanhua to utilize his powers to cast it away for the time being. Later, they secure Aunt to the bed, and Yanhua lights candles in the room. He tells Jia-min that this is to ward the spirit, and instructs her not to let the candles extinguish. Now when he comes out, Yanhua discovers some papers on the table, and when he asks Jia-min about them, she reveals that her aunt drew these after returning home. Yanhua inquires if her aunt often attempts suicide, to which Jia-min explains that her uncle believes she brings bad luck, resulting in him frequently abusing both her aunt and her. Yanhua explains that her aunt's body and soul are weak, and after she was in the rope ritual, her soul is damaged and almost disappearing. Jia-min pleads with him to save her aunt, offering her savings, but Yanhua insists it's not about the money. He mentions that he can teach her a method, but warns that things she doesn't want to see will follow and entangle her. Jia-min agrees, and Yanhua proceeds to teach her the mudra to ward off evil spirits. He also provides her with some spells to learn, and tells her that the chair maiden will assist her, as has asked her to protect her 3 times. The revelation follows that the chair maiden saved her first with Chang's spirit, second with her possessed aunt, and third with the demonic entity in the mirror. He also advises her that if someone calls her, she should never turn her head around. Kwai then ties a thread to her hand, and Jia-min applies her blood to initiate the ritual. After a while, Yanhua and Kwai leave the house, and in the meantime, the lights in the house go off. Jia-min opens her eyes and finds herself in an alternate reality, where encountering an evil spirit. She becomes frightened and quickly makes the mudra, asking all charms to protect her body and soul. As she advances, she encounters the spirits of her mom and dad, who disappear as she approaches them. Upon entering a house in search of them, she finds her aunt's possessed soul drawing something on the floor. Jia-min approaches her, suggesting they go home, and attempts to take her away. However, on their way back, Jia-min hears her mom's voice claiming she and her dad are feeling cold, and they can't hold on any longer. When she turns back, she gets terrified, seeing a demon standing afar. And as it attacks her, the thread in the real world breaks, and she returns to reality. However, to her horror, she watches as her aunt levitates in the air and then falls on the bed, causing the candle to extinguish, and her aunt leaves the room. Jia-min discovers the statue in the room, and suddenly her aunt stabs herself with a broken piece of the mirror. Jia-min attempts to stop her, and the demon is seen in the house. Meanwhile, Yanhua visits Master Shi in the hospital and informs him that someone got possessed during the rope ritual and shows him the drawing made by her. Master Shi expresses the need to be alert, as he senses that the evil spirit is seeking an opportunity to come out. Now while Yanhua leaving, he gets shocked to see Jia-min with her aunt in the hospital. He asks Jia-min what happened to her aunt, to which she says she could not bring her soul back, and once she woke up, her aunt started to stab herself with glass. Her aunt suddenly gets up and blames Jia-min for everything, and the doctor asks Jia-min to leave to allow the patient to calm down. Yanhua follows her and explains that her aunt is delusional, advising her not to take it personally. He sits beside her and asks whether they are going to be afraid for a lifetime or face the situation bravely, to which Jia-min begins crying and says she is really tired. Now when Yanhua is unsure of what to say, he starts dancing in front of her. She asks him what he is doing, and he tells her that he is performing the Zong Kui dance, a dance he used to follow people doing in the temple when he was little. Jia-min shares that when she was little, whenever she was afraid, she would close her eyes, but she could still feel that there was no way to hide. Meanwhile, Prosecutor Tse visits the cursed place to retrieve the drugs. However, instead he finds a symbol drawn on a tree with blood. Terrified, he encounters the demon sitting in his car, causing him to fall back, and subsequently, the demon possesses him and kills him by hanging. On the other hand, Gray is pleased to see that his video has garnered 1.5 million views. However, his joy is short-lived as he notices glowing eyes in the video, and suddenly, he gets attacked and strangled to death with his car's seatbelt. The next day, Kwai takes Yanhua to the cursed place, and he attempts to prevent the authorities from moving the tree. However, the mayor orders to uproot that tree and demolish it. Underneath that tree, they discover numerous snakes and a wooden box covered with amulets. Yanhua tries to stop them from opening the box, warning that it is cursed. However, they ignore him and find a statue inside the box. Yanhua urgently advises them to put it down, as it is Thailand's most powerful demon. Meanwhile, Aunt again gets possessed, and Master Shi decodes the drawings and discovers that the demon intends to sacrifice 7 people by hanging, and then a person with supernatural powers like Yanhua, and then, together with their spirits, the demon wants to reincarnate in human form into the real world. Yanhua seizes the statue and instructs everyone to go home and bathe in amulet water, and then leaves there. Jia-min wakes up and sees her aunt leaving the room, and when she follows her, the lights in the corridor suddenly shut off. Jia-min gets terrified seeing this, and suddenly her aunt appears in front of her. We then see Jia-wei and Shui in the same hospital, as Shui is pregnant. Meanwhile, Aunt lures Jia-min into an old abandoned house, where Jia-min finds her rubbing her eyes. As Jia-min approaches her, Aunt suddenly haunts her, and when Jia-min attempts to escape, Aunt forcefully drags her away. Now, when Yanhua and Kwai reach there, they discover Aunt hanging from a rope. They swiftly rescue her and find she's still breathing. However, Yanhua senses the imminent arrival of the Thai demon. He takes out and uncovers that statue, and begins performing a ritual, summoning Zong Kui for assistance. However, as the situation appears to settle, possessed Jia-min unexpectedly stabs Yanhua in the back. Following this, Jia-min connects the piece of the statue with the Thai demon's statue. She then lifts Kwai into the air and throws him aside. Subsequently, she elevates Aunt and attempts to hang her. However, Yanhua intervenes, causing the spirits to exit Jia-min and enter Yanhua's body, ultimately possessing him. Possessed Yanhua then attacks Jia-min and attempts to kill her, but Jia-min manages to make the mudra and hits Yanhua with it, causing him to fall back. Yanhua, now in a battle with the demon, instructs Jia-min to retrieve the Zhong Kui sword. Jia-min finds the sword, and as Yanhua runs towards it, he deliberately gets stabbed, reciting a spell to seal the spirits within his body. As he collapses, he asks her to get the 5 Thunder Rune necklace. She finds it and tries to make him wear it, but he asks her to put it on herself as it will protect her. Yanhua then dies, and Jia-min cries, remembering the help and support Yanhua gave her when she was in a problem. However, the evil spirit exits from his body, and the demon manifests itself there in front of Jia-min. But when it tries to attack and possess Jia-min, the charm protects her. Jia-min rises, and the spirit of Yanhua, taking on the form of Zhong Kui, emerges to assist her. Together, they vanquish the demon, cleaving it into 2 parts and demolishing the statue. And then, Jia-min also collapses. A few days later, Jia-min visits her aunt in the hospital, sharing the news that she can soon be released. She also informs her about her new job, centered around helping people. Aunt gratefully holds Jia-min's hand, expressing her thanks, and Jia-min wishes her a speedy recovery. We then see that Jia-min now works at the temple alongside Master Shi and Kuai. Master inquires if Yanhua gave her the necklace, and upon her confirmation, he remarks on the fortunate presence of Yanhua and advises her to keep the necklace safe. Master then informs Kuai that Yanhua and Jia-min are destined to be brother and sister. He continues, sharing the legend that Zhong Kui's sister favored using a gourd for winemaking. On the day of her wedding, Zhong Kui personally led the way, commanding ghosts to follow and protect his sister. We then see Xian crying over Gray's dead body, and the officials hand her over the things he left behind and tell her that she should arrange for his funeral soon. Later, when Xian checks his belongings, the lights there begin flickering, and as she tries to flee, her eyes begin hurting, and she gets possessed, and the movie ends with her screams. In a post-credit scene, we see that Shui has delivered a baby boy, and they are very happy to become parents. Jiawei asks the nurse to click their picture, and as she does so, Shui's face in the camera appears as Lian, and the demon spirit enters the baby. Thanks for facing the frights with us. If you survived this video, drop a like, summon that subscribe button, and brace yourself for more horror. Until next time, stay spooked.